Hello, everybody. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Gemini North Node. In astrology, the North Node is the journey of your soul. What your soul is here to become, is here to discover. So if you were born on any of these dates, it means that your North Node is in Gemini. Now, as I move through the information that I want to share with you, I invite you to save the video because you may want to come back to it. I invite you to kind of to take a deep breath and take this into the in whatever way it could possibly apply into your life. What I love more about learning about the North Nodes is that it gives you a perspective of the journey of where you're headed, and it kind of gives you a lot of tips of different personal development tools that could help you individually in your life. Now, if you have your North Node in Gemini, this is what you're here to discover. It means that the opposite sign is your South Node, which is what you've already mastered, what you've learned, and you're ready to let go of. The opposite of Gemini is Sagittarius. So, what this means for you is that you've spent many, many lifetimes seeking for the truth. You literally explored the world. Imagine that kind of person that just travels through India with a backpack, just wanting to discover the truth of life. The person that goes into the forest on their own with just a backpack and tries to survive and just experience life. You naturally have a lot of wisdom. Your soul is deeply wise. And that's amazing. That's already within you. But in a moment, we're going to talk of how, in some ways, that can hold you back sometimes. Another example of many experiences you could have had in past lives is that because you were searching for truth, you completely devoted your life to different faiths, different religions. You were known as a wise man, a wise woman. You had the answers. So now you incarnate in this life, and something within you naturally says, I already know. I know the truth. And you have the security about yourself and life, where you don't have curiosity anymore for the way that life is in this moment. You close yourself off and you feel that you're just right about everything. So, some of the tendencies to leave behind, if you are, oh, and let me tell you, a lot of the information that I'm sharing with you today is from the book Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. If you haven't read this book, I highly encourage you to read it. But some of the tendencies to leave behind as a Gemini North Node is being self righteousness, which is pretty much feeling that you know that you always hold the truth and closing yourself off to other people. Aloofness, so you separate yourself from life experiences, people. You you give this feeling of being a little bit cold sometimes, assuming that other people know where they are at because you have knowledge and wisdom, and you naturally do have a lot of wisdom about many things. When you see somebody else struggling, you think like they should already know what to do. Like they should know the mistakes that they're making. So once again, there's this superiority about it, the energy. Thinking one knows what others are saying without listening. You start hearing somebody talk and you're like, oh, I know where they're going. And you then stop listening because you already assume that you know. You have this natural need to be right. Careless as spontaneity, where because you feel this sense of trust in life, you sometimes do things carelessly. You don't think, you just do. And it still can lead you to a lot of bad consequences in this life. Taking shortcuts. Sometimes you don't trust the process of life anymore. You're like, oh, I already know what the end result is, so I don't need to do that. I don't need to take the class. I don't need to get the certification, whatever. Those are examples. I don't need to connect with my partner that much because I already know whatever, right? Like you take shortcuts because of this confidence that you do have for life. Resisting ideas that are foreign to you. So when somebody actually does come with a whole new idea or concept, you don't even give it the time of day. You're like, no, I already know. And acting on intuition without checking the facts. You are acting, like I said, with this sense of certainty based on what you knew, but you're missing out on picking up the information of what's happening here and now by being curious about this life. That is the main attribute that you're here to develop and that your soul is craving to know. Your soul already did the other stuff. Life after life, it's done. It's like, can we get something else? And this is the life where you get curious, curious about people, curious about why they know, why they don't know, curious about why they make mistakes. Why are they so unhappy? Why are they so stuck? Instead of just judging them. Oh, they're stuck because they should know what they should be doing. No, it's this curiosity and excitement to get to know life, get to know people. This type of healthy curiosity, that's what you're here to develop. You're here to ask questions and learn how other people think. You're not here to let people know what they should be doing. You ask questions, ask questions. In coaching, in the world of coaching, something that we know is that the client knows best. The coach doesn't know. The expert in a coaching relationship is the client. What the coach does, they ask the right questions so the answer comes up and from the client and they can find their next step. It's almost like that's your role now. You have the wisdom. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. You don't need people to know that you're right. You're curious about others and you ask questions to get to know this life, this world. Logic in this life, you do want to be logical instead of more just like random or spontaneous. Is what are the facts? If A and B give me C, and I want C, well, I'll do A and B. Like that's just logical. Like I want my outcome to be C, A and B give me C, example. I'll do that instead of just being like, nah, I don't want to do that because I don't know who even came up with this formula. No, you want to be curious. Let me try it out and see what happens. This positive approach about life and about yourself and about other people, instead of naturally finding how people are wrong, what's wrong with the world, you're curious about how people are right and what's good with the world. And that kind of keeps you wanting to discover more. Listening, openness to new ideas and experiences, and seeking factual information before you make any decision. That is one of the big goals. You want to find factual information before you make any decisions at all. Now, I want to read to you a little bit about the talent and professions. These people have the ability, when they listen, literally, they put it like that. These people have the ability, when they listen, to tune into the specific thought process of others and supply information that allows others to view problems from an expanded perception. Selling, writing, teaching, and communicating in all forms can bring them happiness as well as material success. So here I'm talking to my authors. We need to see your YouTube channel. We want to hear what's going on. Teach us what you know, but teach us what you hear people want to learn. Not just what you know because you just want to teach it. You're trying to answer and provide what people are asking. So that's why you want to develop that listening ear. So then you can write, you can create content, or you can do things in life or find a profession where you give to others. Even coaching could be actually a really good profession for you. You're the natural philosophers. Like you are the one that somebody's just having lunch with you, or you're at the grocery store line, and then something happens and you say something that is like, it could be the most simple thing, but it just sounds like, wow, that was so deep, or that was so wise, or that was so, oh, that makes sense. And you just have this naturally within you. And this is why, which leads me to the next thing that you may notice a lot that happens to you, is one of the shadows of this North Node is feeling very frustrated and impatient because like a lot of like the end result of a lot of things, the process of it frustrates you. That's why you want to skip the steps. The process of it makes you angry. I'm sorry, not angry. It makes you frustrated and it makes you impatient. Well, impatience could lead to anger. So, finding coping skills that help you manage patience and frustration are tools that are specifically helpful for you. Taking a deep breath, asking questions so you're actually interested in why people are taking so long to do something, finding other ways so you can find peace with the process of things in life. Another thing here is, let me read you this part. In many past lifetimes, as spiritual counselors, mentors, and advisors, Gemini North Node people have had to be positioned of positions of certainty, and when others express doubt of fear, in moments when others express doubt or fear, when people were afraid in other past lives, they would come to you, so you would offer them that certainty in moments of fear. So your subconscious mind tells you you're supposed to know the answer. If people came to you in moments of pain and fear, you hold the answer. So you've put this pressure on yourself of having to get the answer right. That's why you really hold on to your identity of I'm right, because if you're not, it kind of shakes your sense of of worth in many ways. That's what has been giving you validation for so many lifetimes. So being here and suddenly somebody saying you're wrong, like it awakens a lot of things within you. So finding peace with being wrong, and sometimes saying, you know what, if I am wrong, nothing about how amazing you are changes because you don't hold all of the answers in this life. So giving yourself the ability to be wrong can be actually very healing for you. Another thing is, remember how we said that you spend so many lifetimes being away on your own, or being part of like very deep spiritual religions. You followed the rules and you did what needed to be done, or you were on your own. So when you are in society and everybody's just free doing whatever they want and not doing things that you know are most beneficial, that freedom kind of rubs you the wrong way, because it's hard to understand why everything may feel so lost. And then some people may not want to hear your input on what's going on. Cooperation and learning to participate in this society where there's so much individual freedom, where not everybody wants to follow the rules, where not everybody wants to do what's best for them, where not everybody wants to do things quickly and fast and efficiently, is what's going to free you. You don't want to be a slave of your frustrations and always being impatient and like looking at the world like, what's wrong with everybody? You want to be able to once again be able to cooperate and coexist. And that's once again what's going to awaken that curiosity, which will lead for you to feel more optimistic about life and others. You do have a natural optimistic side of you, but it's almost like this deep trust for life. That's why you don't mind sometimes being spontaneous, because you trust life, but you want to tap more into that optimism without ever going through an extreme. When people are like, sometimes an example of this, if somebody's being dishonest with you, sometimes you're like, oh, okay, well, whatever, like everything's good. And you may not acknowledge in that moment that maybe something requires your attention or your responsibility. You may just trust too much to the point where sometimes you may miss certain things that could eventually lead to you losing something. It can be finances, it can be anything. And then listen to this. Gemini North Node people don't necessarily expect the people they're with to tell them the truth. They think that other people work from some other point of reference where it's all right to be dishonest, tell white lies, hide money, and so on. And since they themselves would never do those things, they feel that others are operating from a lesser level of integrity. You have within yourself a deep level of integrity, but you don't trust that other people do have integrity. Now, you find it kind of, it seems that it's the opposite from what I just mentioned, but you do have optimism in general, not for people. I hope this is what I'm trying to say, that my message getting across. You have optimism for life, for things ending up okay, but you do believe that people could be dishonest, but you don't necessarily allow that to hinder you because you trust in your way of honesty and the way that you live life. Another thing is that in this life, you may naturally feel very restless. There's this restlessness, but you want to remember that you have the experience of many lifetimes where you focus your attention on one task and you did it well, either if it was something spiritual or just something that you did for survival. You can tap into that energy where you can trust that even if you're doing something for a while, eventually that experience will transform into something else. There's no need to let that restlessness become something that once again hinders you. It's recognizing I am naturally restless or impatient, but I also have within me the ability to be able to do that one task or whatever the case for a long time if needed. You are, remember, trying to let go of everything that you used to be that hindered you, but take with you the things that can still help you, which is so, so important. You may have a natural kind of experience of having to learn to communicate. This could come through stuttering. This could come through having a difficulty like reading out loud, just because you spend so many lifetimes where you were on your own or you were in a state of meditation that speaking wasn't always the most important thing. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's something that makes you you when it comes to in this life. What you want to do is that allow that to help you now, allow that to even make you more curious in wanting to get your communication good and communicating, speaking. If you get nervous to speak in front of people, try it out, get curious about how it feels. All of that can also help you make a big difference. In another way of putting it is that that restlessness that we talked about can come from you have so much mental energy that it's almost like your words cannot come out as fast as you would want them to come out. It's okay. Like you still want to try. You don't want to just live in your head. You want to participate and be part of the world without being so aloof or so separated. When it comes to relationships, something big about Gemini North Node people is that you have like mixed feelings. There's a part of you that really wants to find a committed relationship and share that with one person. And there's another part of you that does not want commitment at all. You're used to your freedom. You know that things exist beyond just relationships. You're connected with this bigger wisdom that sometimes a relationship makes you feel limited. Now, a key thing for you is that you want to find a partner that respects your freedom. That's your ideal situation where you want somebody, where you find somebody that wants to be committed and you can have the experience of the committed relationship, but they're super trusting and they respect your freedom, so you can go out with your friends, you can go take trips on your own, you can do things on your own, so you don't limit your spirit, your free spirit that's here to want to discover life and different situations and different types of people. Because of the relationship, you may also find yourself at the beginning of your dating life just dating a lot of people. Like you are so, your soul is so curious to like understand how things are now, that you may date a variety of people that have like, people are going to be like, what, like that person is the opposite of your ex-girlfriend, your ex-boyfriend, and you don't mind at all. You're just excited to get to know something different. But because you do have that desire to settle down at some point, when you do, it's so important that you find somebody that respects your freedom. What that means is you don't just hope and dream that they just come into your life. When you're dating people, bring this up. Let them know your values, what's important for you. Maybe it's not the case for everybody, but if freedom is important to you, you want to voice that out at the beginning. That don't waste time, don't make people believe things that are not. If you don't want to be super committed and with somebody that wants to do everything with you every single day, then make sure that you're letting them know that that's not what you want, so they don't assume that and then you find yourself trapped, because then that's going to not be good for you. Not at all. Good. Let me see what else I can share with you. Another thing here is that you are a natural teacher. You are here in this life to teach us. You, that is, it can be, it doesn't have to be that your literal profession will be a teacher, but you could be online doing videos, creating content. You may be that person that we see on TikTok that we're just there for hours listening about their life and what they know, just because you have the ability to impact people beyond the way that they can perceive in that moment. And in order for us to get that teaching, you need to put it out there. It can be through writing, it can be in your family at the dinner table, it can be with friends, it can be through a podcast, it can be in a way that whatever rocks your boat. But that is also what your soul is here to bring to all of us. So the souls that are born with Gemini North Node are very wise, wise souls, very wise souls. I know a few people very close to me that are Gemini North Node. And since the moment that I met them, it's just they knew things that some of us just don't know. And and then you ask them, how do you know that? It's like, I don't know. It's just obvious, or they just feel like it's like available wisdom to everybody. Just to let you know, we don't got that wisdom. Like we're not receiving those downloads. Okay, we need them from you. So I hope, if anything, if you're watching this and something has been holding you back, to share your story or what you know, take action, because we need that. And just lastly, something to share, because you are here to be curious about life. Don't only listen to people with your ears, be aware of people even with their body language. That can tell you specifically so much. If somebody's closed off, if somebody's open, if somebody's smiling, if all those little cues, you don't need to do anything with them, but they can provide you insight into the way that people exist in this world and how you can share your wisdom more effectively. You are the teacher that we need about life experiences. We no longer, all of us are like knocking at every church to want to learn from religion anymore. Sometimes we're learning through TikTok. We're getting our inspiration through YouTube. We are getting the biggest breakthroughs at the dinner table. Like that's the classroom right now. Those are the places where we're connecting with God, and it's a beautiful thing. So I hope this video inspires you to just see your strengths and see all of the opportunities that this life is here to offer you. If you are a Gemini North Node, or you have your Gemini in, if you have your North Node in Gemini, leave it in the comments. Let me know if you relate with this information. Remember, if you don't own the book, Astrology for the Soul, I highly encourage you to read it because it's powerful. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye bye.